recently encountered a caterpillar in the park near my high school. The tiny creature was scurrying around by my feet when some classmates pointed it out to me. I chose to pick it up and allowed it to crawl around on my arm. Its many pairs of feet pattered on my skin more gently than light raindrops. I observed the small organism and began to enter a state of contemplation. This young insect was acting on pure instinct, not making any rational decisions about climbing on the arm of a giant being like myself. I have found the distinction between animals and humans to be extraordinarily intriguing. Our thought processes, our emotions, our instincts, so different but also somewhat similar. Humans go about doing many actions just as mindlessly as animals, following paths just because they were led to believe they are correct. The paths of life to which men and women are mindlessly dedicated are based on nothing other than standards created by men and women that came before them. And the greatest possible method of forging your own path involves a concept that is quite possibly unique to none other than the human race: creativity.
These are some of the boxes of books that I wrote when I was younger. Since a really young age, I've been super invested in writing. It was the first way that I was able to really tell stories, so I've pretty much been writing books since I knew how to put words together, and since then I've expanded my storytelling into other mediums like film and comics, but since the beginning I've been writing straight up stories, and that's always been one of my greatest escapes, one of my greatest passions, just writing stories like this. That's why I have so many, and I'm pretty sure that's always going to be, what I do.
There was something within me since the moment I first put the pen to the page that told me I was meant to do this. I can't be certain if it was instinct, possibly so. My 3-year-old self was not conscious of the future. I was nothing more than a caterpillar, unaware it might one day be a butterfly. So I wasn't considering writing as a career. I had no financial motivation, so the products of my creativity were simply a release of my ideas and thoughts. The urge to write was powerful, and it was constant. I wrote frequently, often using characters that I saw on television, but usually creating my own characters and entirely original stories. It reached a point where it was obsessive. I carried a pad of paper and a pencil everywhere, in the car, at restaurants, when I traveled, before I went to bed. This creative drive made me feel like quite the transcendental sheep of the family. While other family members gathered around the TV to watch sporting events, I would be laying on the floor, heaps of paper spread out in every direction around me, sloppily crafting the best story my young self could.
Son, the ball game's on. Son, the ball game's on.
Sorry, Dad. Too busy writing.
All jokes aside, my parents have always been enormously supportive of my creations, but the difference in interest between myself and everyone around me was stark. I certainly felt like an odd one out in elementary school, but I didn't feel excluded or disliked. I just chose to dedicate my time to writing rather than any other activity. Sports were the obvious hobbies of just about every boy my age. Writing was not something kids tended to do for fun. It was usually schoolwork that everyone dreaded, and to be fair, I never cared for the writing projects at school either. My years of writing made me feel like I could transcend the content expected of us. The stories we had to write were tightly confined, never branching out past simple and straightforward nonfiction. Meanwhile, at home, I was writing a trilogy of books that blended Western elements with horror and science fiction. I made them in the 3rd grade, and they remain some of my favorite creations to this day. Acknowledging myself as a creator, realizing that my creativity made me a nonconformist in this society, and being prepared to proudly showcase myself as a writer and an artist was the stage of my life where I felt like I was entering a cocoon. And now, as I take my artistry down many different paths, I feel like I'm emerging.
This room right here is actually where I do a lot of my creative work. Like, my home is my recording studio, my writer's workshop, my just like center of creativity. All the magic happens here. Sometimes I'll work from other places or go somewhere to just get the creative juices flowing, but primarily when I'm here and when I'm relaxed, I can really just get in the zone and work on my many projects. Yeah, for me, home has always been the best place to get stuff done. To just feel like myself and just create my art. I've got a lot of great tools here too. I've got my green screen, my microphone, my laptop, of course, the iPad is definitely a great tool for storyboarding, for comics, for all that kind of stuff. This is one of my more recent projects that I've been working on for a few months, actually. I think I just finished. I'll let you guys be the first to see it. I mean, I love it.
With the help of a few specific tools, I can now make movie magic happen. I started making movies long before I had the proper equipment, however. Some of my early work is quite comically bad.
I'm Batman.
But just like with writing, enough time and effort sharpened my skills, and soon it turned from a hobby to a passion. I have since produced over 75 fan films, over a dozen animations, more than 15 horror films, and 1 feature-length mystery movie. My point here is that in recent years, my creativity has expanded down many paths. Not just writing any longer, but now other mediums that include film, audiobooks, podcasts, digital design, and my favorite, comic book creating. The development of my knack for storytelling is a key part of emerging from my cocoon and being able to take flight in the world of creativity and true nonconformity.
Working on all these projects and stuff can be really exhausting, so sometimes it's a good idea to do something relaxing and peaceful to, try to find harmony with all the thoughts and ideas. So recently I've explored meditation, so I'll just show you a little bit of what that looks like for me and what goes on in my head.
For the past few years of my life, I've been heavily dwelling on my place in the universe. Every day and night, my mind is filled with existential thoughts. I can't help but feel like this is a result of my creativity. Trying to channel all of my emotions, ideas, and thoughts into art forces me to think deep. It forces me to push my limits. It forces me to live outside the lines of what is expected of a person in this society, and be my own person, my own artist. My creativity has created a direct link for me to think about the universe and life itself. Just like animals or insects, the human race does what it believes to be right without question. People fall into habits and cycles just as naturally as they breathe. It's almost instinct, human nature, for people to accept the truth they are given and live their lives by the ideals they receive from their family, their society, or the world. And only through a creative mind can one achieve a perspective unique enough to escape the trap of conformity. And now, I will leave you with this. The caterpillar that I picked up will never turn into a butterfly. Some quick research concluded that the species of caterpillar I met will actually, one day, become a venomous moth. Its small and innocent nature fooled me. That is why we must never judge a caterpillar, for once they leave their cocoon, there's no telling what they might be.
I've been doing me. I've been doing me. Yeah, I've been doing me. I've been doing me.